Welcome to WoW. Today is number 17, and I'm so excited to have you guys here. And welcome to Rebecca as a brand new member to QHS and already plugging in. You have the best results ever, or what? Many of you guys know that QHS offers so many great things to help you be healthier, stronger, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. It's like a full package. And where's my device? I think it's in my bathrobe. I was going to show it to you. But we are here to support you so that you can be healthier and stronger instead of sicker and weaker. And so I am your host, Tracee. I am a health coach, personal trainer, Reiki master. I have been in the wellness space since 2007. And I have a co-host. Her name is Dr. Gloria. She's a naturopath, homeopath with over 40 years of experience. And then we also have lots of guests that have wonderful expertise to share. So I want to just say Happy New Year to everyone. 2024 is going to be so off the hook. I hope you are as excited as we are because we are your partners in this. We are holding your hands across the finish line. And this is it. We have arrived. So the first thing I like to do is call on anyone who wants to share anything that they have applied to their life, any success stories they have from things they've learned at WoW, whether it's nutrition tips, fitness tips, anything, because these stories, you guys, they encourage others. And I like to do it at the beginning. So who wants to raise their hand and volunteer? Don't make me call on you. Ruby, you can go first.
I just want to say that I find that WoW is so full of hope and so full of wonderful, exciting information all the time. And when you come in here, it's like I feel like I'm coming to another little home in QHS, just like I feel with our key group. But the WoW group is another little home, and I love my little homes. And Tracee is just
Thank you.
fabulous, and Dr. Gloria with all her information. But I love how you embrace your members and how you just are you. And I just cherish that, Trace. I just do. So just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ruby. We love you too. And we absolutely love Keys. So for the new members, it's great. Like what Ruby said, we have a little energy center that you can plug into every day. Vibe Tribe is on Monday. Key is on
Yes.
Tuesday. Wednesday, we have our volunteer call. And Thursday's WoW. Friday, we have WoW Can Breathe. Yeah, that's what it's called. I'm like, what is it called? But I said it really easily. Sometimes I trip on my words, so please forgive me for being a little goofball. Trudy, go for it.
Well, to just go with what Ruby said, I just got this vision. We're all living on this lane and we're in a cul-de-sac. Every house is something different and we're all neighbors and we're all going to each other's house for something. So that's what I felt like. It's true. You just keep going from one to another. It's like we have coffee over here, we'll have a nice latte over there, or we'll have a smoothie over here. We're getting tidbits and gathering from each place we go to. It's really cool.
That's a really great visualization. It's like a big block
It
party.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Trudy. Okay, Steph, you can be the caboose here.
Oh, basically, it's just wow. How you say it's just wow. After everything is said and done, we have to embrace how we're going to feel later and how to keep everything together. And I think that what we learn here in WoW is another step into being well and staying well.
That's right. I mean that our devices work magic, right? We know that, but the healthy choices that we make complement that device. When I started in the wellness space, I started in vitamins. Like I was learning all about vitamins and I would talk to people and they'd say, "Oh, so can I take this and eat McDonald's and fast food every day?" And I was like, no, it's called a supplement because you're supplementing an already healthy diet. Like, oh, this is the magic, right? Everything has a space. And I love using the jigsaw puzzle analogy. And it's essentially that the admin team and the members all have a piece in the jigsaw puzzle. And we do puzzles over the holidays, me and my kids. So I'm telling you, it's not good with a missing piece, you know? So every one of us has that important piece in the jigsaw puzzle of QHS and of healing the world with frequency. So congratulate yourself for being here and for taking the time and loving yourself enough to make these lifestyle changes a priority for you. Okay, please. Yes, thank you, Michelle. She's giving herself a hug. Do you know what happens with touch? There is something called oxytocin, which is produced in your body. And it can even be produced by you touching yourself. All right, giving yourself massages. Just that physical touch is so important. It's like this pleasure hormone in your body, and you don't need anybody else to hug you or touch you. You can love yourself and make those pleasure hormones come alive for you. Okay. So don't be afraid of doing that. It's wonderful. I love massaging myself, like especially my forearms. Oh, if you haven't done that, you're missing out, man. And just to say, next week, I'm doing this whole series on low back health because I became a low back specialist through my personal training certification process. I had to do CEs, and I was looking for a continuing education that would help all of you. So low back health. And I want to say, because I didn't say this in the videos, but I do want to say that if you can't get up down on the floor on a mat, which many people can't, and I apologize for not realizing that, you can do these in your bed. Okay. All these exercises that I'm putting out next week, you can do them in your bed. And so I want to encourage you all with that. And when I do the write up on the hug, actual, the text, I will say that as well, because I don't want you to say, oh, I can't get down on a mat. And then check this out. The following week, I'm doing a series of how to get off the floor, how to get on the floor, and how to get up off the floor for those that have a hard time with it. And I'm doing this because of my mother-in-law. She's 89. And she spilled something out of her oven. Like she was taking something out and she spilled. And she was afraid to get down on the floor to clean it up. So she did that whole, put a towel down on the floor and rub it with your foot. So I'm like, I'm going to teach you how to do this. So I just want to encourage you to know that if I do exercises and you go, oh gosh, I can't do that, you can do it on your bed. And then you can look forward to the new videos that are going to be coming up that you will be able to practice to longer to be able to get, it's all functional fitness, which means it's things that will help support you in day-to-day life. Okay. It says my internet is unstable. I hope I'm not breaking up. All right. So for today, actually, what I want to say first is the whole focus of WoW is helping you adopt healthy habits, layering them so they become new rituals that you can do without even thinking about it, just like brushing your teeth. Help you age stronger and healthier instead of sick. Today, our special guest, I'm going to interview Gloria, and we're going to be talking about fats and oils primarily. There is a lot of these out to be using.
Oh, you're really
How
freezing.
you feel, or just
You're breaking up a bit,
Shoot.
Tracee. Maybe turn off your video.
Yeah, you're freezing.
okay. This could be done. I've shut down a lot of apps. Okay, so let me start over on that. So today's guest is Dr. Gloria, and I'm going to be interviewing her on healthy oils. Okay. And since I lived a ketogenic lifestyle for over 7 years, I'm very familiar with the importance of fat, especially coming from a non-fat background. I lived counting Weight Watchers points, eating non-fat everything, low fat, and it was horrible. I was severely constipated. I had a distended abdomen because I was so impacted, to say a nicer word, and my body just wasn't healthy living that way. So I started studying about the ketogenic diet when my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and then my father also had had cancer 5 times. And so fat is a really important topic that there's a lot of misconceptions about. And the biggest one that I mentioned actually last week for those who weren't here is there was a study done years ago called the 7-country study, and it was done decades ago, like in the 60s, okay? And the researcher was a man named Ansel Keys, and he basically said that countries that consume the most saturated fat had the highest incidence of heart disease. All right? It's called the 7-country study. However, at the time, there was data from 22 countries. But the data for the 15 that he extrapolated from his study didn't correlate with his hypothesis. So if 7 countries did correlate and 15 did not, would you say that that's kind of faulty science?
Yes.
I think so, right? But they're still quoting this study today, which just mind blown, right? Like, come on, let's get over this. So anyway, I believe that fat is your friend. You need it to absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K. Cholesterol even is your mother hormone. You need cholesterol in order to produce pregnenolone, DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. Okay, pregnenolone is your mother hormone. It comes from cholesterol. Also, you need it for vitamin D. So please don't be afraid. God made eggs yolks for a reason, right? He didn't make cartons of eggs whites being shot out of a chicken. No, he made yolks for a reason. They are the lifeblood of the egg. Okay. So with that, Dr. Gloria, hello.
Hello, and I apologize for those of you that don't know, I've been having this virus for 10 days now, and so unless I start coughing, I should be okay, other than a little raspy voice. What Tracee said is to the point that I have experienced not only in the US, but in other countries, because having lived abroad gives you a whole different perspective as to what Americans believe and what they bite into of the sales pitches that we get. We want to talk about what healthy oils are and what they do and why you need them. But I'm going to start out with some kind of a, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to start out with a statement that would you drink varnish that they use to put on wood, that carpenters use? Would you drink that? Of course not. It's poison. Well, guess what? The oils that they manufacture that are vegetable oils are what they use to make varnish. So varnish is good for food, for wood, but not for you. And the studies had proven it over and over, because those are what we call the omega-6s. And what I don't want to do is start talking about, like patients always say, oh, tell us the difference between polyunsaturated and saturated. And no, that's too confusing. It isn't really important right now. What's important is for you to understand what oils are healthy and which ones are not healthy, which ones are actually health depleting, and what do they cause. So if you go back and think generations back, way back, my family was from Europe and from South America. And I used to cringe once I got into dental school that my grandmother was still using pure lard. It's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding. So I was going to go the healthy route and buy all these new vegetable oils. Well, like Tracee said, you cannot expect to use something that is highly processed, heated, and extracted with chemicals and be healthy, right? So that's why we see in countries like Italy that uses a lot of olive oil, mostly olive oil, countries that use a lot of natural organic. I'm not talking about bacon that, you know, the pigs have been given every kind of antibiotic and hormone and God only knows what. I'm talking about free range things like free range butter. Like Tracee was saying, in all the countries that I've been in, and the 3 years I studied with medical doctors that are integrated physicians in Ecuador, they tell all their patients to eat organic, free-range butter. That's the, and I know Tracee uses that because we've talked about it, and so do I. It's not about cutting down and being low fat, because in other countries, the medical doctors say if your cholesterol is below 300, I'm not worried about it. Okay, below 300. I've got studies that have quoted that, and I didn't believe it until I was working with the doctors. So what I want to do is share with you the difference between, like, for instance, omega-6s. Omega-6s are the oils or the omegas that cause inflammation, can clog arteries, can contribute to diabetes, to all kinds of inflammatory disorders, autoimmune disorders, and those are the oils. And I'm going to cheat and look at, my eyes are so inflamed from this virus that I'm going to look at my chart because I can't see it until I blew it up. So I apologize. But the healthy oils, the most healthy, are what Tracee and I always promote in our cooking classes. And that is coconut oil, of course, avocado oil, pure organic free range butter. What's the Irish one that we buy, Tracee, that you like? I can see the container in my refrigerator. Is it, what's the name of that butter?
It's Kerrygold butter, but I have something better. Kerrygold butter.
Kerrygold. Okay, so we can talk about the other one. Go ahead and say what other one there is then.
Well,
Kerrygold is what I buy.
I recently found a local dairy that sells raw milk and raw cream. And what I found out is that when I'm not a milk drinker, but I do make my own yogurt out of half and half. And so what I found out is that I'm going to make my own half and half now, because you just do half cream, half milk, and it's raw. And so it's not like super heat pasteurized. So you don't kill all the good nutrients in the milk.
Right.
And you know, there's got to be a reason that those in India revere the cow. It's because of the mother's
That's right.
milk. The breast milk is the most highly absorbable protein that you can get. And so anyways, that's my new jam is I bought their butter, I bought their cream and their milk just to make my own half and half, to make my own yogurt. We'll talk more about that later.
And I could do that. I did that when I had my organic farm in Idaho, when I had my clinics, because we had a lot of Amish and Mennonite families that's all they did was raise all that, and we could buy it. But I can't do it here. They don't even allow raw milk here in Texas.
Well, it's illegal most of the places, but I think it's illegal here too. But oftentimes you can find it at like your local farmer's market.
Right. So I'm talking about what you can buy in most grocery stores, which is the Kerrygold, that is a really good organic butter that is free range. So in other words, they haven't given the animals, you know, a little tiny cage, or they're not hitting butt to butt in their stalls. So that is the type of a situation that Tracee was mentioning, and that I mentioned about the cholesterol. That low fat fad killed more people with high cholesterol, with losing weight, and then gaining it and more back afterwards. If you remember, people, if you were ever on it, or people that were on it, you know, we have to be able to make lifestyle changes, not quick fixes. And Tracee and I are not going to talk to you about quick fixes. So understand that avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, when it's not heated to fry, you wouldn't put French fries in olive oil because then it becomes carcinogenic in a high heat. Hemp seed oil is fine, flaxseed, and Brazil nut oil. I use all of those for different foods. I also use many times the oil that is for Asian stir fries. I'll use a little bit of I'm going blank, a little bit of the dark sesame oil, but you don't want to use that all the time. Those are things that in moderation are fine. I'm not going to do a stir fry and certain recipes and not use sesame oil when that's what gives it the flavor. Okay.
Right.
Now, those are all omega threes. Those reduce inflammation, help reduce blood pressure, help reduce blood sugar for all of us that are diabetic, and help your immune system. Now, when you go into omega-6s, so forget about poly and unpoly and saturated and unsaturated. Just remember that there's only a handful of oils that are actually healthy. And the ones that are not are the ones that are the cheapest, of course. You can buy a gallon of me today. With this coupon, I'll give you $5 off on top of the cheap price. Why? Because that's cottonseed oil, that's soybean, that's corn oil, canola oil, safflower, and sunflower. And in other countries where they use lard, where they use coconuts, where they use olive oil, like I said, such as in Italy, you have a much lower rate of heart disease, hypertension, and diabetes and inflammation. Why? Because they're doing what our ancestors did. We, including me years ago, bought into the advertising and into the media about buying these oils because they're all, they're all vegetable oils. Well, yeah, but they don't tell you what they do. They go through a chemical processing a procedure that actually adds chemicals to it, and a lot of it is petroleum based. So you're putting toxins into your body just because you're buying a cheaper cooking oil. It doesn't make sense. You're not going to be able to overcome. And here again, as Tracee has said many times, and I have as well, you can't expect to learn all this, then go through our arc and come out this vibrant, healthy, 30-year-old body, mind, and spirit, right? And then turn around and start eating all of the fast food. Or go back to using things that, oh, well, I'm healthy now, and I've been through all this, and I've been through all of these programs, and I've got my white device. It's going to protect me. No, it's not. You are what you eat. So this is why it's so important that we understand that. Pardon? You're freezing again.
Let's go back to. I hate to.
I know you're freezing.
Shoot.
Can't hear you, hon.
Go ahead. You just.
Okay. So there are some oils that, like I mentioned earlier, the dark sesame oil that I like. No, it's not the healthiest, but it's not the toxicity that I spoke about with all of the other vegetable oils. So using it in a recipe occasionally, like some peanut oil that a recipe calls for, or rice bran oil is okay, but it's in moderation occasionally for a recipe that really needs it to give it that really special flavor that you can't get the flavor of, toasted dark sesame oil in any other oil. So it's not about, all or nothing. Oh, I can never have my Asian food again. No, that's not the case. The case is use it occasionally, make your recipe, enjoy it, but understand that it's not an everyday thing. Everything in life has to have moderation, and in nature. You don't till the soil, you don't rotate it, you don't feed it, you don't get good crops. Same thing with our body. So that's one of the most important things. But I wanted to mention that varnish is actually made from the oils that I just talked about, from the omega-6s. And I actually had forgotten that. I learned it years ago, but completely forgot it until I started writing notes for today's presentation. And the other thing too is that the oils that we're talking about that are healthy, the olive oil, walnut oil, for instance, coconut oil, they're extracted by what? They actually push the oils out of the olives, right? You see all those Italians stomping the grapes for wine, and they're stomping their olives, or they put them through the mechanical stompers now. They're not adding chemicals. They're not processing them. They are breaking them down so that it becomes a food or a liquid or a solid structure. They're not adding chemicals in order to extend shelf life and make it less expensive. So there's the big difference. One is being extracted mechanically, meaning by man or by machine that isn't adding anything. It's just squashing it, kind of like putting it in a food processor. And the other is being extracted industrially, which is added chemicals in order to get everything out. And it's not only good for us, it literally has been proven to cause things as much as cancer. But it's also not good for our environment, because where does all that wastewater go? Back into the soil. Okay.
Okay, so
So
let's
you want to
talk
add to that?
about omega-6s. So basically what you're talking about is the omega-6 oils, which are something called essential fatty acids. Now, the reason essential fatty acids are called essential is because your body doesn't make them, so you have to get them from another source of food. Now, she's talking about omega-6. There's also omega-3s that you've all heard about with fish oil, right? You know, it's you can get krill oil, salmon oil, but the omega-3s are from fatty fish. Omega-6 you can actually you get plenty from your like chicken, okay, or your other proteins often have omega-6s, and that's why we don't need to get them from seed oils. The other thing I will add is that my mother-in-law has this lady group, and like I don't know, maybe once every couple years, and their salad dressing does not it I know it has crappy oils because this thumb right here, it's like my brake hand from mountain biking. It gets so jacked up when I eat those seed oils that I can't even turn on my car key. And it's like my trigger. Like I know when I've had seed oils, because at a restaurant I always ask, but at this place, anyway, long story. But so that's my trigger. And I'll tell you that if you don't clean up your diet and eliminate all these inflammatory food items, then you won't have those triggers as easily. The triggers come when everything's clean and then you introduce it back in. Okay.
Yep.
So, like
Yep.
bread and all the gluten stuff, I didn't have symptoms until I went off of it. All right. So that's what I want to add to your discussion about the seed oils. And also,
and I'd like to add my triggers too. So finish your thought, because I have a trigger that I forgot about that's important to share too.
okay, well, since we're on the topic of seed oils, let's go ahead, and then Cheryl has a question.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my trigger. What Tracee said is valid, because she and I have talked about it. But when I was so sick, when I had my accident, my liver shut down and I had leaky gut and fibromyalgia and all of that, I had to sleep in a recliner for almost 2 years. Because if I laid down, the heartburn, the acid reflux was so bad that I would go into tears. And I was at my farm at the time and still running the clinic, but there's no way I could lay down. I had to sit up because it was not a regurgitation. It was just literally like pouring acid on an open wound. And even my integrative medical doctor couldn't figure out what it was. And I was having a neighbor lady cook for me with my recipes because I couldn't cook. I was too sick. Little did I know that she had run out of the oil that I bought her, and she was using a vegetable oil, canola oil, because they grew canola oil all over in North Idaho. They still do. They're beautiful yellow flowers, huge fields of them. And where I was just south of the Canadian border. And so when I finally thought, okay, I've got to play detective here. That's what I'm good at. What in the heck is going on? So I asked her, and she said, oh, I ran out of that, and I figured this says all natural, and we grow canola around here, so I figured it was probably okay. The minute I got rid of the canola oil, all of those symptoms went away. When I told my medical doctor, Dr. Alto said, I never thought of that, but you're right, because that causes inflammation, and I already had all the digestive issues, and the liver was shutting down, so I had inflammation everywhere, including a really severe case of fibromyalgia. Everything hurt. So what Tracee is calling her triggers, my trigger is that I do not eat oils in a restaurant, and I eat in very few restaurants anyway, because that would always happen when I ate out. I'd have their salad dressing or a nice piece of chicken that I would say broil it, but they wouldn't broil it. They throw it on the grill with all the bad oils, and I'd get heartburn. It's like, well, why? I asked for, now I know why. So understand, if you're having those type of symptoms, go back and play detective. What's different? What's going on? What are they cooking with? The one restaurant that I can eat at here so far, there were several others when I lived further up in Texas, but where I am now, only uses olive oil, and I never have a problem with her food. But boy, you give me somewhere else, and I have heartburn all night long and have to sit up in order for my, for that burning that feels like, acid on an open wound, in order for it to calm down so that I can go to sleep. So that's a real trigger where you need to learn to play detective. Always go back and say, what did I eat different? What was in that food that I may not have thought of? Your neighbor brought you a nice salad, but she used, mayonnaise that is all soybean oil versus an avocado mayonnaise, for instance, because I've been caught in that one too. So hopefully that will encourage you to play detective whenever you start having symptoms that you haven't had. Go back and figure out what could be different. And as we've talked about in the past on programs, do the elimination diet. Get rid of a couple of things and see if your symptoms get better. And if you do have a flare-up, my flare-up is like Tracee's, the forearm and the thumbs. Why? Because I'm on the computer 15 hours a day. So those are the spots that get worn out the most in my body. I'm not athletic like Tracee, but I'm athletic with my hands. So the keyboard is my friend, but it's also, something that can really, really get to me and be a health detriment because I'm on the computer so many hours. So hopefully that helps. Tracee, do you want to take questions, or do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I want to add a lot of stuff, but first I want to see what Cheryl's had her hand up for a while. So go ahead, Cheryl. You're muted, babe.
There we go. Sorry. So I just wanted to, because I use a lot of organic ghee, and primarily because you can cook with high heat with it, supposedly.
Right.
And also that it's a great substitute for butter in that regard. So I kind of want to just make sure you were included that in your umbrella there of good things to use.
Yes.
Thank you,
ghee
Cheryl.
is
That's good for you. Yeah, ghee is great, and it is high heat. Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
been
for those of you that, thank you for bringing that up. For those of you that don't know, ghee is when they take butter and the particles go to the top, and that's what they skim off. So you're not getting all the fat at the bottom, but you're getting the benefit and the nutrition of what the butter has in it.
It takes out the
That's the
protein
easiest way to
in the
explain it.
butter. It's clarified butter. It removes like the protein solids from the butter.
Right.
And I just don't love the taste of ghee for some reason. It's not my favorite flavor, so I just like pure butter.
Right.
But
I eat butter, but I do use ghee at times, yes, and I don't mind it. To me, it tastes like butter, but a lot of people don't like it. Thank you, Cheryl. That's good that you reminded us of that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add one thing. It's totally unrelated, but I started my new year off with coming down with shingles. So I'm walking wounded right now.
oh, look at you and showing up anyway. Wow.
Do you have your white device?
No, I don't have, but I have two of the black, and I was, I've been trying to kind of move things around and not clear if the devices were going to actually exacerbate things or make things better, because it is painful.
It
I
is
vote
very
for make
painful,
things
and
better.
yes,
I vote that they're going to make things better, and you're the one who's creating your own
I
future.
agree.
So
Okay.
decide that it's going to make it better.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Just
I've
make
been
sure,
doing
just
that
make sure you put them
actuality.
on. Yeah, make sure you put them on opposite sides, like Dr. A and Cynthia always tell us. Okay, don't
Got
put
it.
them like, two of them on a shoulder. Put them side by side or back and front. But yes, I agree with Tracee. Try it. I mean, with this congestion, it didn't help. I mean, I don't know where the body can possibly produce as much gunk as I've been able to get out. And I'm sure Kelly will probably be the same. And Christine, I don't know if you've had the same sinus gunk, but I had such a violent headache for 5 days from the sinus congestion. And I put the device on my head and it goes away within about 7 to 8 minutes. It does come back several hours later because that congestion is still there. That's pressure, that's inflammation, but it does get rid of it. So by all means, try it with the two devices, because even if it only gives you a short time of relief, you can move it to other areas and then go back to the area that is the most troublesome. Okay. Thank you.
Guys. Okay, Ruby.
I just wanted to say to Cheryl, I just treated some shingles. One thing that we used on my brother's sores, because they do look like sores, is colloidal silver, and that'll help dry that up, Cheryl. Just and add a little tidbit there.
I buy colloidal silver by the gallon on
Yeah.
eBay. It's
Oh,
really
well,
good.
I make it myself because I sold so much, and you might want to check this out, Track.
Okay,
Because
send me some.
Don't
it,
get me on that. You
it's
make your
just
own?
Okay,
yeah.
wow, you're high
It's
tech,
very
Ruby.
it's no, it's very simple and it's very
No,
cheap,
it's not.
and it's you have control over it because you don't know what you're buying there either.
That's a good point.
I'll have
Very,
to
very
come
good
on
point.
and talk to you about colloidal silver. We have lots to
Well, I
talk.
have you on my list, so you're
I
going to be
know,
coming.
I know it, and I'm excited. Anyway,
Okay. Thanks, Ruby.
mhm.
So I want to talk about Dr. Jana talked about MCT oil. Okay, so coconut oil is made with medium chain triglycerides. Okay, MCT oil is the medium chain triglycerides extracted from the coconut oil. All right, there's C6, 8, 10, and 12. I, for years, have made my coffee with a teaspoon of C8, pure C8, because it is the one that brings ketones into your body, which for me is energy. And I've done MCT oil seriously for probably 10 years. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I still tested positive for Candida. So medium chain triglycerides are great. Coconut oil is great, but it does not do the same thing as caprylic acid, in my opinion, in my experience, I should say. So a lot
Well,
of
in 40
people,
years, I can vouch for that. It doesn't do anything like acrylic acid. You're right.
yeah, well, otherwise I shouldn't have Candida. So
That's right.
that's my proof of the pudding. But I do say that MCT oil is great, and pure C8 is my favorite one to use if you're going to use it. I blend it in my coffee. That's all I do. You can put it on salad. You can do whatever you want with it. But it's really good. And the last thing I wanted to add to what Gloria was saying is you want to make sure that you use your oils appropriately. So for instance, extra virgin olive oil is best like on a salad, on something not cooked. So many people, like even on Bon Appetit, which this kills me because I love their recipes, but they use canola oil in some of their recipes. And I'm just
Yes.
like, come on, you guys. And then today they had, because I get their newsletter today, like, what's the best peanut butter? They had like Jif and Skippy
Yeah.
and all these brands with these hydrogenated oils. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to write back to them and tell them, shame on you for promoting anything with hydrogenated oil. I'll tell you something, about maybe 5 years or maybe longer, New York City banned all hydrogenated oils from their restaurants. They said no using hydrogenated oils in your restaurants. And they calculated that they saved as many lives from doing that as the amount of people that would die in car accidents in the city every year. So say if like 100 people died from car accidents every year in New York City, that by banning those oils, they saved 100 lives. So that's pretty remarkable. But anyway, so you don't want hydrogenated oils either. And that's something like partially hydrogenated soybean oil, partially hydrogenated this, like Crisco, margarine, all that fake butter is hydrogenated oils. And the other thing I want to show you guys is I'm going to have Dr. Jana go ahead and ask her question while I am looking for this obesity map. So Dr. Jana, go ahead.
Unmuted. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm glad, Tracee, that you brought up about the MCT oil because I put it in the chat over there. And, you know, I appreciate Dr. Gloria bringing all that stuff up about the candida because it's been a lifelong issue for me. I was born with it, honestly. My mother had it like her whole life, and my father had it, and yeah, the whole thing. So anyway, this MCT oil, I looked at the bottle that came from Costco, which was like a really good deal. And most of it in there was the caprylic acid. So I was thinking that this is like a good substitute for doing all these capsules that can be very expensive. And then sometimes, you know, capsules get stuck in the throat and everything. It's not very fun. So as far as I know,
So
you
are
know,
you
from what the
saying,
label says-
Dr. Jana, are you saying that the MCT oil you bought at Costco, that some of the major ingredient is caprylic acid?
Yes, yes, it was mostly
Okay,
caprylic
what are
acid.
the other ingredients?
I think it was just like it said capric acid or something like that. It was just a slightly different form. And so most of it looked to be caprylic acid. I mean, it was like in 1 tablespoon, it was 10 times more than in a couple of capsules that I've been buying and taking every day.
Well,
You know?
that's something that I need to investigate. Thank you for that. I'll dig into it, because if in fact I don't trust Costco supplements, I love
don't
Costco for
usually
other
either.
things, but
Right.
yeah.
You know,
But
I agree.
but I will dig down the rabbit hole on that one and report back, because if that's the case, then you're right. It's easier than taking the capsules. You're absolutely correct. And so I'll look into that, because caprylic acid is the inner part of the shell of the coconut. And that is what weakens the membrane of the candida fungus, and it starts dying, assuming that you're changing your diet. And, you know, as Tracee and I constantly remind you, you cannot take caprylic acid and go ahead and eat your donuts and your carbs and your white rice and everything that converts to sugar. What it means is that it's going to be easier to kill the candida fungus. So I'll look into that, Dr. Jana, and get back to everybody on a wall call, because that's
Awesome.
I've never seen that, but I will look into it.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we lose Tracee? I don't see Tracee. Did we lose her?
She's muted.
She has trouble with her.
Tracee, you're muted.
Oh, she's.
Thank you. I got kicked out of the meeting and now I'm back. So, I have to look at my thing and see if it says caprylic acid in it, and then I can let you guys know next week as well. So, what I was
Yes.
looking for was the obesity map that goes all the way back years ago from the low fat era, and I can't find it. But what I want to tell you is that when we demonized fat, we replaced it with sugar. And that is when our country's obesity epidemic came to be. Because think about that. When we did Entenmann's, right? We did Entenmann's and Snackwells, and we would eat bagels with no cream cheese and potatoes with no butter. And that is when, you know, things hit the fan, right? Because sugar is the actual enemy here. And that's what I want. I've been saying this all along, is that we don't want the sugar in our diet, but fat is good. And the other thing I wanted to add, I could go on for days talking about fat, bacon grease. So what I do is I bake my bacon and I buy the pasture raised, no nitrates, you know, of course, and I put it on a tray, like a jelly roll pan that has a lip. And then while it's hot, I pour the grease into a jar. And then I use that to, like, say this morning I cooked my eggs with my avocado. And it adds flavor to it as well. Now, I don't eat pork per se. Like I don't care for like pork roast or any of that stuff, but I do like a little bit of bacon, like maybe one slice in something else. And I do like the bacon grease in, you know, like to cook eggs in or to cook something else in. Okay, Marianne, go for it.
I make bone broth. out of chicken bones and also beef bones. And then I can it, so I've got it handy when I need it. And there's always fat that accumulates on the top of the jar. And I save that and then I cook with it. So I'm wondering, it seems to me it should be fine to use beef fat or
Totally.
chicken fat too.
Totally, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yes,
so
as
then,
long as the chicken is organic,
yes.
free-ranged, whatever, yes.
And then of course there's turkey fat, and sometimes my friends that are hunters bring me the animal bones, and there's fat there. So those, I use those things frequently, plus the bacon fat.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
good.
And
Guys,
yes,
Okay, good.
and I
thought
love
thought
bacon
it
fat
was.
for making beans. If you make beans of any kind, chili beans,
Yeah.
you know, pork and beans, whatever, using the bacon fat gives it a whole different flavor.
Yes.
And so it was taboo for years not to do that. Now we know better, but it has to be an organic, healthy source, not, you know, eating a great big pork roast that they've injected with everything. So yeah, Marion, I think that would be okay. As long as your source is healthy, the fat's going to be healthy. Because remember that growth hormones, antibiotics, any kind of drugs that they give the animal accumulate in fat cells. It's in the
Yep.
fat where everything is stored. And so if you have healthy broth, you know, bones from a healthy animal, the fat's going to be just as healthy. Okay.
I always buy my meat from the person that raised it, so I know
Right.
what's in it. I know where it came from.
good for you.
Yes, good idea. That's what I miss about North Idaho. I knew all the farmers. I knew who had the best bison and the best beef and the best chickens. So hopefully we'll get back to that. Not in Idaho, but hopefully can go back to that. I didn't realize how much I missed being a farmer till I wasn't a farmer.
Yeah,
So,
that's
thank
good.
you,
I mean,
Marion.
the more every year I add a little homesteading practice to, you know, my life. Like it's always a little different. I'm excited to go to that dairy I found and watch them milk the cows. It's 3 o'clock every day they milk the cows. I'm gonna go and take a video and I'll share it with you guys. But please just know your farmers markets don't just have vegetables. They have meats, you know, they have fats, like, you know, there's a farmer's market that has like the eggs and the butter and the cheese, and it's all like homemade, you know, like back to the basics. And I feel like our world is going to that direction. People are becoming aware of what they are doing to our food, and they are standing up and taking control, and we need to
Right.
support them with our dollars. Okay. So I want to encourage you to
Yes.
support the small farmers. And there's websites online that you can find like a map that will show you, like there was this, I didn't know that this place with all these cows actually sold their milk and their cream and stuff. I had no idea. I found it online and it's literally probably 2.5 miles away from me. So I'm going to encourage you guys, and I will, as a
Be
resource,
important.
go ahead and put the link to the resources, like to the map, so you can find it. So find your local farmers market. That's the best place to shop, in my opinion. And
Tracee,
go ahead, Trudy.
what are we going to
I'm
Where's
in
Judy?
Vermont, and so we have several farms that you can go to the farm and you can buy their milk and their cream. And what they do, they have an honor system, and the reason that they do that, then they can sell it that way, because you know there's so
Right.
many restrictions on our food in Vermont. But
Yeah.
and they also, we have tons of farmer markets around here that are indoors even during the winter, and they sell sauerkraut and pickles, all sorts of fermented, you know, foods that are really good for you, besides the fact that they also have fresh foods that they store, you know, like, well, root vegetables, I'm sorry, but you know, like beets and such. But you can make so many things out of them, you know, besides what you normally use them for. You know, you have to get a little creative, but you know, you're getting fresh,
Right.
you know, grown things. So it makes it
Great.
really
Trudy,
good.
let me elaborate a little bit on what you just said. because the other big advantage, as Tracee was saying about, she found out about this dairy, but the other big advantage is you can ask questions.
Yeah.
You can say, what do you do to your soil? Do you rotate it? What do you feed it? How are your cows raised? This is what I loved about being in North Idaho the 21 years I was there. You can't do that just anywhere. Can't go to the grocery store and say, now my eggs, I know where they come from because they're from a local, place, but I can't go and ask, where did this, whole cream come from? And because it comes from a conglomeration of places that they contract with. So that's one of the biggest things that is the advantage of not only supporting your local farmers, but to be able to ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and I want to ask you something, Tracee, after you take Dr. Jana's question.
Okay, well, first I want to just comment, if it's organic, we have an certified organic farm, okay? And everything has to be non-GMO if it's organic. So if it says organic on it, you can pretty much be sure that it's non-GMO, okay? There's no 100% guarantees. I'm just going to say there's just not. But if it says organic, then it's supposed to not be GMO as well. Okay, Dr. Jana. And Trudy, why did you say I'm sorry about root vegetables? You said,
because a lot of them have sugar, like beets are very sugary and stuff. And some places or diets don't really recommend that you have some of the root vegetables.
Yeah, but in moderation, beets are very healthy. Beets have a lot of nitric oxide. So I drink a beet powder, but being diabetic, I can't eat the beets, but I still get it. So Tracee's right.
And that's what you put in your red sauce. Your red sauce had beets in it, right? Roasted beets.
Yep. Yeah, but you're not making the red sauce and eating it every day.
Right.
Because beets are very healthy for you in moderation. Right.
I love beets. Sorry.
No, please don't ever apologize. Okay. Like, we are all here on the same individual journey. And I don't feel like you need to apologize. Like, I ate fudge over Christmas break because my mother-in-law makes it once a year, but I'm not going to apologize for it because I made a choice that I wanted to have that darn fudge, and I did. Okay. And it was worth it. And I'll do it again next year. So, and also we're all on a different journey. I happen to eat a ketogenic diet. Maybe one of you's vegan or vegetarian or whatever, but I hope that you don't think I need to apologize for eating my bison or my salmon. We all get to choose the path we want to follow, and there's no good, bad, right, or wrong if you're doing what's right for you. Okay. So always check in with yourself and trust your inner guidance system to tell you what is best for your body. Okay. I am never going to judge you for making the choices that you make. We all become aware of things on a different timeline, right? Like maybe I'm going to say the word awake in 2020. I was clueless before that on many things, but I have known about nutrition for a long time. So we don't even know our own soul's journey, our own, contract, if you will. So how can we judge somebody else's, right?
No,
it's just love and acceptance, and just hold space for people to make their own choices. Okay. So Trudy, you don't have to apologize for eating beets. I eat beets. I like beet salad.
I love beets.
I love beets with goat cheese and walnuts and a balsamic dressing. Oh, baby. Okay, Dr. Jana.
Yes.
I just wanted to add on about the dairies and being able to get raw milk, because yes, I believe that if you're going to do milk, that doing the raw milk is definitely the best thing. And a lot of states do have laws, maybe all of them have laws against sale of raw milk, but how people get around it, like legally, is that they can work with a farmer and they buy part of the cow, or they lease part of the cow, and then they are able to get the milk that way. So just to let you know, I still can't do raw milk, even raw goat's milk. It just doesn't work for me. I think it was because
it doesn't work for me either.
My mother never fed me one single drop of her own colostrum, right? She just put me straight on homogenized pasteurized cow's milk when I was a baby. And I think it just ruined it, for me. So I can't do any kind of milk, even if it's raw. Just wanted to let you know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care for
Thank
milk.
you.
I don't prefer the taste of milk, but I do like a little bit of heavy cream in my coffee now, alternatively
Right,
to
me
the
too.
oil. So I alternate MCT, heavy cream. Okay. And like I said, that L-Reuteri. So those of you who follow Alex, I've been making this yogurt for years, but Alex's sidekick, JC, I think is his name, he just started making this L-Reuteri yogurt, and the recipes can be found online, but it's the Wheat Belly Doctor. And it actually, there's research that shows that people who had the healthiest gut microbiome and lived longest had this L-Reuteri bacteria strain in their body. Okay. Most yogurts that you buy commercially aren't fermented as well and don't have as much live and active culture. And this L-Reuteri one is powerful. So I make it with half and half.
Yep.
It takes 36 hours to ferment. And I can dig up the recipe and share it with you guys if you want. But now that I'm doing raw, so pasteurized, I think they pasteurize it at high heat, but this only cooks at like 100 degrees. So it doesn't kill the nutrients in it. It just amplifies, and brings in the probiotics. And then I added another one, another capsule that I just got. Can't remember what it is, but it's supposed to help you, like, okay, don't judge me, but it's supposed to help you burn belly fat. And that's one of my areas that is one of my goals. So
now you do know that some professional high potency probiotics have those strains, right? If you buy a probiotic at Costco, it's not going to have that strain because it's not even refrigerated. To have live bacteria, probiotic has to be refrigerated. So, but there are capsules. If people don't want to make yogurt, for instance, or don't like it, you can get a high potency probiotic that contains all those strains, because it is really healthy for the microbiome.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So it's my understanding that if a probiotic, in order to stay stable and be alive, needs refrigeration, how is it going to do in your body that is, 97, I'm low, 97 or 98 degrees if it can't stay stable in room temperature?
It's because everything is so variable when they put it into the capsule. I mean, it's already freeze-dried. So you've already killed most of it. It's freeze-dried and then encapsulated. So the capsule gets it through to the small intestine, right, and to the colon, and it can open up in there, and they say, okay, it's bioavailable. I don't want dead organisms in there to, hoping that it's going to boost my immune system. I want something that is refrigerated. And the capsule and the way that they encapsulate it is the way that it suspends basically within the digestive tract so that it can get down into the small intestine and into the colon. So that
does this need to be refrigerated?
That's a quick Pardon?
Does this need to be refrigerated?
No, not necessarily, as long as it doesn't get hotter than body temperature.
Oh, okay. So if this
body temperature, it's stable, right? But like in the summer, if your house is hot, yes, it needs to be refrigerated. But in the winter right now, I don't refrigerate mine in the winter either, but I do in the summer. As soon as I have the interior, the humidity and the heat, then I refrigerate it. Otherwise, no. I traveled with it all over and kept it in my carry-on, because if I put it in luggage, I didn't know what the temperature variations would be. So it's just best to refrigerate them to be safe, so that you do have live bacteria. But they're not even shipped refrigerated many times, unless it's summer. Then they usually pack them in ice and ship them. So, Tracee, I want to make sure we don't forget about the gift I have for all of all of our members. And
go ahead.
And I didn't know how you were going to do that. I have a gift that I updated, that I've made for all of my patients and students through the years, all because they requested it. Like, if you say, okay, but what's the smoke point? of olive oil, or what's a smoke point of, coconut oil. I made a little ebook that has all of that in it, and I updated it. And Tracee's going to make it available to all of you as a New Year's gift so that you can get slick and healthy in 2024. So slide into 2024 with healthy oils. How's that?
Awesome. So you guys,
At least I didn't lose my sense of humor. Pardon?
Never. So the link, you guys, it's going to be on the blog. Okay. And I believe it's getting uploaded tomorrow. So you can find the ebook on the blog, and it will have the 9 healthiest oils and all the things that she described. And so that way you guys can see the smoke points and stuff. But it's like what I said, extra virgin olive oil, please just mostly use it on low heat or on salad. I use avocado oil when I roast anything. Okay. Because you don't want smoke point. Yeah. You don't want to have carcinogenic oils go in your body. Does anybody else have questions? Oh, raise your hand, please. Go ahead, Trudy.
It's not a question, but I use a probiotic that has transfer factor beads in it for your immune system, because they make it through the stomach and make it all the way down to the colon. Now, the transfer factor is a molecule that comes out of the colostrum of the milk from a cow, the colostrum from a cow or chicken, or breastfeeding when you breastfeed your baby. So those transfer factors is highly great for your immune system, because what it does is it goes to the T cells. So it's your fighter cells of your immune system. So if you can get your probiotics with your immune, transfer factor all the way down to your colon, because it has to go through your stomach, the acid and everything, that is so beneficial for healthiness, your colon, your immune system and everything. And this has been around for 70 years and we've never been told about it. So
will you send me information on that, Trudy?
Yep, I can.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you. I've never heard of that. Above my pay grade. Linda.
Did anybody mention grapeseed oil? How you feel about that?
Grapeseed oil, I have it in the what?
I said I'm not a fan. Go ahead.
No, I'm not a fan either, but grapeseed oil is under the category, and you'll see it in the ebook, of some of the best, not necessarily toxic, but you use it in moderation, like you would, for instance, the sesame oil. Okay. Yep, so grapeseed oil has a very high smoke point. So I do use it if I'm doing deep frying, because it doesn't smoke up the house, right? And trigger all the smoke alarms. So yeah, I mean, it's okay to use, but don't use it as your everyday cooking oil. Just use it when you're going to have a very high heat. Like I used to have, I don't have one now, but I used to have a little baby, what do they call it? The baby fryer, the baby daddy fryer, whatever it was, those little ones. And that's what I used to use, because I would make my Asian food that had to be, deep fried. And the bad part is that the oil then will get rancid early. So so then you have to throw it away if you've deep fried it. You can't reuse it like you could, bacon fat, for instance. Okay. But as far as my research, it's never been a problem. And I use it for high heat food as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Just probably only once every couple months, because I don't fry a lot. But when I do, yes, it's okay to use.
Use an air fryer.
Somebody else have their hand.
Nancy.
No, thank you.
Wait, you're muted, babe.
You're muted.
Okay. That was my question. Good. So if you use an air fryer, is it okay to put virgin olive oil like on vegetables or potatoes if you make your own French fries in an air fryer?
It depends on the temperature, right?
So maybe around 350.
No, that's too much, because what they say in the scientific reports is that when olive oil gets hot enough to fry an egg, let's say you just have an egg in a skillet, okay? If it's hot enough to fry the egg, you're now creating toxic oil. So if I was using the air fryer, my oven does, I have a Breville oven, and it does air fry, but I won't use it. And I just haven't. But use, either coconut oil or avocado oil instead, because they have high smoke points. You'll see that in the ebook that Tracee's going to make available for everybody. Or, just baste it on. You don't need a lot of oil in an air fryer. The thing I don't like about air fryers, and just to get off that subject, but onto what you asked, mine is all stainless steel inside. I have a Breville oven that does everything. It's a portable oven on my counter because I refuse to use the big one because it's a self-cleaning oven and it's loaded with Teflon. So if you have an air fryer that is stainless steel, there's no problem using it all the time. I have patients that use it every single day. But that's the reason I don't use it, because I know somebody's going to say, why don't you use an air fryer? It's so much healthier. I just haven't done it. I haven't gotten around to it. I'm too busy writing recipes and testing them for all of you. So that wasn't a priority on my list. I've written almost 700 recipes in the last 11 months and had to test over half of them. So there's no time for that. But don't worry about the air fryer, Nancy, the oil in the air fryer, but I wouldn't use olive oil because it is toxic at high temperatures. Does that help?
Yes, it does. My daughter-in-law, for my grandkids, will take vegetables and put them on a flat and put olive oil and salt and put them in the oven. And
yeah, my daughter-in-law does the same thing, and I cannot get her to switch to avocado oil. I don't know what it is. I think it's just a mental thing. They think avocado is going to taste like avocados. Well, my response to that is, does olive oil taste like olives? No. The most basic neutral oil is coconut oil and avocado oil because it takes on the flavor of whatever it's cooked with. It is not like, ooh, I'm eating a coconut. Some coconut oils are pretty coconutty, but if you buy a good coconut oil, it usually doesn't have that funny taste. I don't like that funny coconut taste on everything. So I buy one from, as Tracee knows, I buy mine in a little jar that is made for butchers, and it doesn't have any of that taste. So
at the dollar store.
Thanks.
I went there. I bought
Dollar Tree. My patients can't believe it. I'm sending everybody to Dollar Tree, but it's made for butchers that cook for people that have allergies. And so it has been purified. And so you don't have any of that other stuff in it from regular coconut oil. So I used to buy the big ones at Costco, and it's good, and there's nothing wrong with it. But my business partner doesn't like the flavor of coconut in everything that he eats. So one of my patients told me about this little jar. Tracee went down and got one, and it's good, isn't it? It has no flavor of coconuts, but it's also for another reason. If you're going to put it in any of your orifices, like that's what I've been using up my nose because I couldn't breathe, it's purified. So it's really good to use. People use it on their babies when they have a little rash on their bottom, whatever, because it is totally purified. So that's a reason, but it is Dollar Tree. And you can buy it by the case like I do online. They deliver it at no charge to your local Dollar Tree store. So you can buy, I don't know if it's 24 or 36. It's $1.25 a jar. I mean, you can't go wrong, and it's healthy. So thanks, Nancy, for your question. That's great.
Now $1.25, no more. They were hit by inflation also.
Yeah.
What is the name of the Dollar Tree coconut oil? What is it called again?
It's Butcher Boy. And they only carry one kind, and they're small jars. They're not a great big jar. And most of the stores run out as quick as they get it in. So do you have your jar there? No, because I don't have mine handy.
No, but it's about this size.
It's Butcher Boy.
It's about like
this. About that size. And if you buy it and you like it, then go online and order it, because it's going to cost you the same for a whole case as one container at Costco. And this one is totally purified with no flavor of coconut whatsoever. And like I said, it would be expensive if they had to ship it and charge. There it is. Nancy, good. There it is. Nancy's got the jar. Yeah. Do you like it, Nancy?
To be honest, I just bought it. I haven't tried it. Now that you said it
Oh,
doesn't have a taste, I'll for sure
okay.
try it.
It doesn't have any taste, yeah. But thank you for showing us that. And if you buy the case, like I said, it's the same as a big jar of coconut oil from Costco, and they'll ship it to your local store, not to your house, at no charge. You just tell them what store you want it delivered to and the address. So that's what I do. I order a case at a time. I'm famous for doing that. So
Michelle, did you have
Tracee
a
tried
question?
it at one of our shows. She showed everybody.
Yeah,
Was there
hey
another
Tracee,
question?
I just wanted to, again, y'all hit on topic today because I just really in my research was finding out about these oils that, you know, thinking they were so great and they're not, and they're sprayed with the GMOs and their seeds. And so when they're processed, all that, and we get that as we're finding out all these wonderful tips and tricks. And I just wanted to throw in a couple quick things and thank you and Dr. Gloria. Number one, your exercises, chair exercises, has helped me tremendously, Tracee, and your other ones that I do. But the little tips and tricks like the brush after in the bathroom is doing wonders for me. And I also, y'all, just a helpful tip I found, if you get a little spray bottle while you're doing, after you've done the brush trick, I take hydrogen peroxide and just spray it all over my whole body while I'm in the bathroom. It oxygen, you know, it just gives us all that beautiful oxygen that we're not getting, and you're right there while you're doing you know what I mean? These little tips and tricks. And I just wanted to say thank you. And the other thing is, I hope nobody's drinking diet soda anymore because it's literally fertilizer and on plants. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It strictly is poison. So
it's a pesticide, Michelle.
Yeah,
it's a pesticide.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in India they use it instead of pesticides because it's cheaper. They spray all their crops with it.
With Diet Coke.
Thank you.
Crazy.
Yeah, they do. And Michelle, thank you for that tip because I forgot that. Many years ago, I was told by an East Indian doctor that when you do the dry skin brushing, and of course you're supposed to do it really light, you don't want to irritate the skin. If you do put some food grade peroxide in a spray bottle, it's going right in because you just opened up all of the cells. Yep. So everything is open, just like when you get out of a hot shower is when you're supposed to put your moisturizer on right away while your skin is still wet. Well, by doing what Michelle just said, you're really getting that oxygen. So thank you. I had forgotten about that. That's a great tip.
Where do you get your food grade hydrogen peroxide? Is that the
Amazon?
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, the local stores don't have it. I get a big a gallon of it at Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. I try to support only local, but you know what? Amazon comes through. I order it now and I'll have it here at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning at my door. So there you go. But it is organic. Make sure it's organic and it's food grade, 3% food grade. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. So you guys, next week we have Dr. Janet, who is a hypnotist and plus a bunch of other things. But she is going to do a show on connecting with your spiritual self. The week after that, we have Kelly for fasting, talking about all different things with fasting. And then we'll go from there. But please come back next week. Tell your friends how WoW is helping you. And last but not least, we have a recipe coming out tomorrow for, do you remember what it is?
Taco soup.
Taco soup.
Right?
So that's coming out tomorrow.
And this is a good time of year. And it's a good time of year to do it. You may not feel like going through the whole thing with the lettuce and the cheese or whatever you put on your tacos, but a taco soup is warm and filling and healthy. And so please let us know how you enjoy the recipes too. You've all been great about saying that. And I want to make one more comment before we finish here. Many of you, I had to laugh really loud, as sick as I was, said, don't tell Dr. Gloria that I had my eggnog at Christmas or at New Year's. And I started laughing because if I had been well, I would have had my eggnog with a little rum on New Year's or Christmas because I love it. And I only have it once a year and only one glass. As Tracee was saying, don't beat yourself up over that and don't apologize. She had her fudge. I couldn't have anything. I was so sick, but I would have had my eggnog. So thank you for sneaking that in. It was a cute cute bit of humor there over the holidays, but definitely don't apologize. Enjoy it and have one for me. Okay, and let
That's
us know how
funny.
you like the oil book, the healthy oil book ebook that Tracee's going to make available to all of you. Because the more you tell me that it works for you, and that those things that I spent a lot of time and energy researching and writing for you are what you can really use, the more I'll do on different subjects that everybody could use on a daily basis. So please let us know. Give us some feedback on the chats.
Awesome.
Or on the program.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let's close with this. Okay, bring your hands to your forehead. May you think only joyful thoughts. To your lips, may you speak only kind words. And to your heart space, may you show love to yourself and to all those around you. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Bye. Thank
Have a
you,
beautiful
everybody.
day.
Love you all.
Thanks, Tracee.
Love you all. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
Tracee.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Gloria.
Thank you, Tracee.